Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are dropping right into an absolutely astonishing geographical anomaly that stretches entirely across the globe. We're going to explore a topic where ancient legends, sheer cliff faces, and startling mathematical precision all collide. Seriously, it's like a giant puzzle. Whether you're a history buff, a geography nerd, or just someone fascinated by ancient theology, this is a mystery that has literally captivated minds for centuries. 4,190. To put that into perspective, that is a massive number. It represents the staggering length in kilometers of an almost perfectly straight line cutting right across the Earth. Now, we're not talking about a modern highway or a calculated flight path here. This is an ancient, invisible axis that has somehow guided pilgrims for over 1,000 years. Okay, let's dive into this. According to ancient legend, this 4,190-kilometer alignment is no mere map-making coincidence. No way. Tradition actually holds that this line represents the physical, lingering footprint of the Archangel Michael's sword. The myth says this is the exact precise trajectory of the blow he struck to cast Satan out of heaven and down into the abyss. It's a breathtaking concept, isn't it? The idea that a cosmic battle could leave a literal, geographic scar across the face of our Earth. And that metaphorical scar is marked by 7 incredibly remote sanctuaries. Our journey starts out in the turbulent Atlantic at Skellig Michael in Ireland. You might actually recognize that one as the Jedi Sanctuary from the recent Star Wars films. From there, the line travels southeast. It hits the tidal island of St. Michael's Mount in England before crossing the channel over to the iconic Mont Saint-Michel in France. Continuing southeast, it climbs all the way up the Alps to the Sacra di San Michele and then drops right into the Italian cave of Monte Sant'Angelo. From there, it crosses the Aegean Sea to Greece at Panomatis, and finally, the whole shebang terminates at the Stellar Maris Monastery on Mount Carmel in Israel. What's truly incredible here is just how inaccessible these places are. We're talking perched on steep summits and rocky islets, constantly lashed by tides. Well, before we get into the math behind this line, we really need to zoom in and understand exactly who this figure is. The name Michael is derived from Hebrew, and it translates directly to a question: who is like God? Now, this isn't just a simple name. In Christian tradition, it is quite literally a battle cry. It's a statement of profound humility used as a weapon against the ultimate pride of Satan. So, the crucial point is understanding his cosmic job description. According to Scripture, particularly the book of Revelation, Michael isn't just a messenger. Actually, scratch that. He has 4 very distinct roles. He serves as the defender of the church and the leader of the heavenly army, actively fighting demonic forces. He's also the weigher of souls at the final judgment and the angel of death, whose job is to protect and escort souls to the afterlife. He is recognized across Christian, Jewish, and Islamic traditions as a formidable warrior of light. Apparitions and earthly footprints, how the warrior angel left his mark on Earth. Let's shift our focus from the cosmic down to the terrestrial and look at the historical, ground-level accounts of how humanity has actually interacted with St. Michael over the centuries. Walking chronologically through history, we see this trail of reported earthly footprints. It all kicks off in 490 AD, when he reportedly appeared in a cave in Gargano, Italy. Exactly a century later, in 590 AD, right during a devastating plague in Rome, Pope Gregory the Great saw Michael sheathing his sword atop a mausoleum, signaling the plague's end. Fast forward a bit to 708 AD, where he appeared to a French bishop. The story goes he famously pressed his finger right into the bishop's skull to convince him to build Mont Saint-Michel. Moving into the modern era, later mystic visions, like those of Sister Antonia in 1751 and Pope Leo XIII in 1886, kind of shifted the focus. They moved from building physical shrines to building spiritual defenses. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer awe these sites commanded. This quote right here is from that 490 AD apparition at the cave in Gargano, Italy. When the local bishop hesitated to consecrate the formerly pagan cave, Michael appeared and basically declared he had already done it. Because of this, the sanctuary of Monte Sant'Angelo holds a completely unique distinction in the world. It is the only Catholic house of worship never consecrated by human hands. Incredible, right? Spiritual armor and devotion, praying to the heavenly protector. With that historical context in place, let's look at the practical ways the faithful actually pray to this heavenly protector against spiritual darkness today. Which brings us to the fascinating significance of the number 9. Back in 1751, a Portuguese Carmelite nun named Sister Antonia d'Ostanak had a vision where St. Michael asked to be honored by 9 salutations. This became known as the Chaplet of St. Michael. It honors the 9 distinct choirs of angels, all the way from the seraphim down to the angels. Tradition holds that anyone who practices this daily devotion is promised an escort of 9 angels when approaching Holy Communion. And perhaps the absolute most famous piece of spiritual armor is this prayer. In 1886, Pope Leo XIII had a truly terrifying vision of demonic forces attacking the church. In immediate response, he composed this famous St. Michael prayer. It's a direct, powerful plea for spiritual warfare and protection, and it was widely recited after the end of every Tridentine Low Mass, a practice that a lot of parishes still continue to this very day. Coincidence or revelation, analyzing the 4,190-kilometer mystery? Let's move to and see how this builds as we zoom back out to analyze this massive geographic line. We've seen the myth, we've covered the theology, now let's objectively weigh the geographic evidence. First off, there is a totally fascinating archaeological angle. French scholar Jean Richer proposed what he called the St. Michael-Apollo axis. You see, long before Christianity, many of these exact rocky crags were dedicated to the Greek sun god Apollo, like the site at Panormithus, for instance. When Christianity spread, it's highly likely that these ancient places of power, dedicated to the pagan god of clarity, were intentionally reappropriated for the Archangel of Light. It shows this brilliant, seamless spiritual continuity right there in the landscape. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how we find 2 completely different perspectives when looking at the data. On one hand, astrophysicists and skeptics point out that Europe contains literally hundreds of shrines dedicated to St. Michael, meaning, well, if you draw a line long enough, you're bound to connect a few of them. Plus, the line isn't exactly mathematically perfect. There are deviations of about 14 to 42 kilometers. But on the flip side, believers point to the fact that this alignment perfectly matches the sunrise on May 8th, which is the feast day of St. Michael's apparition. Furthermore, these sites were historically connected by actual pilgrim walking routes, like the Via del Angelo, which deliberately linked the shrines across the entire continent. So, what does this all mean? We are left to ponder. Is this incredible 4,000-kilometer line across the globe merely a result of human pattern recognition? Just a statistical inevitability in a continent absolutely filled with churches? Or is it the lingering physical footprint of divine intervention, a celestial sword strike forever etched into the earth? Whatever you conclude, the line of St. Michael remains a stunning intersection of geography, mathematics, and enduring faith. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, keep questioning the world around you.